All right, so today we're tackling a huge topic, AI and surveillance. But we're going to look at it from a totally different angle. We always hear about it as this big moral battle, right? Freedom versus control. But what if that's the wrong way to think about it entirely? What if it's not really a choice we're making at all? Let's get into it. This quote, this really hits the nail on the head for our whole conversation today. Think about it. Back in the Industrial Revolution, nobody voted for smog. No one said, hey, you know what'd be great? Filthy air. Of course not. Smog was just what happened. It was the messy, unavoidable side effect of progress, of building a super efficient world powered by factories. Just hang on to that idea of smog because it's going to be really important. Because here's the big idea we're unpacking today. What if a total surveillance society isn't something anyone is planning on purpose? What if it's not a conspiracy? What if it's just the new smog? The unintended but maybe inevitable consequence of unleashing AI on a global scale. Okay, so for this explainer, let's try to put aside the usual talk of good guys versus bad guys. Instead, we're going to look at this like engineers. We're not talking about a conspiracy, we're talking about a consequence, an outcome. So let's really get into the nitty-gritty. What's the core logic here? Why do AI and surveillance seem to be so connected? Like, why does one always seem to lead to the other? Yeah, it's a huge question, right? But the answer, it turns out, is pretty straightforward. It all boils down to what AI needs to survive, what it eats. And this is a really important point. See, old school computer programs, they just followed a set of rules a programmer wrote. If this, then that. Super rigid. But modern AI, it's totally different. It's a learning machine. And just like any engine, it needs fuel. And that fuel is behavioral data. It's the raw, messy stuff of what we do all day long. Now, what exactly is that data? Well, it's pretty much everything. We're talking about where you go, what you buy, what you say. It's about who you hang out with, how you walk, and yeah, it's even trying to figure out how you think and if you're the type to follow the rules. The simple truth is, the more of this data an AI gets, the smarter and better it gets at its job. And here's the twist. The people building these systems, their main goal isn't to spy on you. Nope. Their goal is accuracy. They just want their AI to work really, really well, whether that's to cut costs, stop fraud, or run a city more smoothly. So all those sensors, the cameras, the fingerprint scanners, all of it, they're not the point. They're just the tools to shovel data into the machine to make it more accurate. Okay, that kind of makes sense from an engineering perspective. But what does that actually look like in the real world? I mean, what happens when we let an AI that thinks this way run our most important stuff? Like healthcare, or maybe even something like universal basic income. Well, it creates what you could call a verification cycle. It's pretty simple. Step 1. You put an AI in charge of essential stuff, food, housing, you name it. Step 2, to do its job right and stop people from cheating, that AI has to ask constantly, who is this? Are they allowed to have this? Are they pulling a fast one? And that leads directly to step 3. The only way to get those answers second by second is with constant monitoring. And this is where everything gets turned on its head. In a system like that, a system obsessed with verification, your privacy isn't a feature anymore. It's a bug. From the AI's perspective, your private life is just a frustrating blind spot, a gap in the data that keeps it from doing its job perfectly. Then you throw in the most powerful force of all, money. I mean, look at the choice. If you're running a massive system, you can either hire tons of expensive humans to check everything, or you can use cheap, super fast, automated AI surveillance. Which one do you think they're going to choose? It's a no-brainer. They'll pick cheap and easy every single time. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds insane. People would never go for this. But here's the thing. The argument is that this isn't going to happen overnight with some scary government mandate. The path to making all this feel normal, well, we're the ones paving it right now. Yeah, it doesn't start with some top-down order. It starts with us choosing it. We're the ones bringing smart speakers into our homes that are always listening. We're the ones using our faces to unlock our phones. We're wearing the fitness trackers, driving the smart cars. We are literally installing the sensor network of the future, one gadget at a time. And why are we doing this? Come on, it's a great deal. We're trading away this vague thing called privacy for things we can see and feel right now. We get convenience, safety, better health, a little bit of status, nonstop entertainment. It's a trade we're all making every single day. And honestly, it feels worth it. And that's the key, right? All of these little choices made by millions of us, they add up. They slowly get us used to being watched, being measured. We're creating a new normal. So when the time comes for a bigger, more official system to roll out, it won't feel scary or strange. It'll just feel like the next logical step. And all of this brings us to the final and honestly, the most mind-bending part of this whole idea. It asks us to stop looking at surveillance as this evil, dystopian thing and to start seeing it as, well, as something else completely. Just let's walk through the logic. When we decide that AI should be making the big calls for our society, when we put it in charge of deciding who gets what, and when we tell it to enforce the rules that keep everything from falling apart, then the inescapable conclusion is that it can't do any of that if it's blind. How can it make fair decisions or enforce rules if it has no idea what's actually happening? And that right there is the big reveal, the ultimate reframe. Surveillance isn't the scary movie plot. It's the operating system. It's the basic, fundamental software you need to run a complicated, AI-powered world. So, it's not a conspiracy. It's just an engineering outcome, a logical result of the very technology we are so excited about building and using every day. Which leaves us with one heck of a final question. If we accept this, just for a moment, if we say, okay, maybe a surveillance OS is inevitable, then the whole conversation has to change, right? It stops being about how do we stop it and starts being about how do we shape it. The question isn't if we'll have this operating system. The question is, what kind of apps do we want to build on top of it? What kind of world do we want to run on this new OS? Now that is a conversation worth having.